I look back on college and I don't feel like I missed out on anything. And that's what I want for you guys as students. But contrary to popular belief, you can absolutely be pre-med, go to medical school, and become a doctor and still have fun in your life. Now, I'm not saying that there are periods of this career that are not extremely hard and that you don't have a lot of time to do other things that you enjoy, but there is a lot throughout your pre-med years and medical school years that you are able to enjoy free time, maximize extracurriculars, and do things outside of medicine. And that's something I highly recommend to prevent burnout, is to have hobbies that are not tied to medicine, so you don't feel like your entire identity is wrapped up in just being a pre-med student or just being a medical student. And so for me as a pre-med, honestly, I had more fun than I'd even like to admit. I went to Cornell, and I feel like that may have a rep for being a school where all you do is study, but I worked hard and I also played hard. I had a lot of fun in my undergrad years. I went out a good amount. I would go out on Thursdays sometimes. The key is being efficient with your work. And most students just don't know how to actually sit down for a couple hours and study hard and study efficiently. Rather, they half study for 8 hours and feel like they have to be up all night. But how many times have you, and if you're listening to this and you do this, you'll know what I'm talking about, but you're at the library, you're there till 12, 1 o'clock, but the whole time you're like talking with friends in the friend group, you kind of have Facebook open or TikTok now, people are scrolling through. You're not actually getting work done. So let me tell you how to actually have fun as a pre-med student, but still do really well in your classes. So first off, I really recommend to study early in the morning. If you get 1 or 2 hours work done before your classes, you're going to be so ahead of the game. So instead of waking up right before class, going to class, not being prepared, then zoning out during half the lecture, and then having to study that actual material later in the day for the first time, what if you did this? You woke up early and you did about 1 to 2 hours of work, getting ahead in your classes. Then when you go to lecture, you listen, you don't ferociously take notes, because a lot of times then you're not actually concentrating on what the professor's saying. And then later on, you review it quickly, and that's actually your third pass of the material, versus in the first scenario, it being your first pass through the material. If you do this and you incorporate spaced repetition using Anki, is something that I really like to use and a lot of medical students will use, and now even more pre-med students are using as well. You can then do your cards on a daily basis and never forget any information that you studied prior. This will increase the efficiency of your studying by, 5 to 10 fold, to the point where now in the afternoon or in the evening, you don't have to be in the library till 1 a.m. Now you're not getting good sleep if you're doing that, and then you're tired the next day and you're again studying more inefficiently, and it's this perpetual cycle that actually gets worse and worse. And so if you can just implement a few good strategies, wake up early, get good sleep, and actually use active recall, spaced repetition, and basically overall active study techniques that if you are interested in, I have a course, you can click the link below. I'll tell you exactly how to use these active techniques to study for your classes and the MCAT to get into medical school. If you do this, you are going to see success. You are also going to have more time to, for example, I was able to be on the club soccer team. I was in a fraternity. I went out 2 to 3 nights a week. Not every time when there was a test I had to study for. Obviously, I would sacrifice social events and things like that to make sure that I'm doing well in my pre-med classes. I look back on college and I don't feel like I missed out on anything. And that's what I want for you guys as students. But you have to be disciplined during the week and really make the most out of your time. And if you do that, you're going to be in great shape. So I hope this was helpful for any of you that are pre-meds and feel like, maybe I don't want to do this because I'm giving up my whole life. I'm giving up my 20s is something common you'll hear. It's not the case at all. I am now a doctor, still in my 20s, and I've enjoyed the entire career path. Honestly, the hardest thing that I've faced thus far is residency when I'm on a hard rotation, because in pre-med, you have a lot of time to yourself. In medical school, probably the hardest year is third year because you're doing clinical rotations and then you have to study for shelf exams, but you also have a good amount of time in the first 2 years when you're in preclinical. Fourth year is not as bad. You're doing more electives, figuring out what specialty you want to go to, doing the match process. And now that I'm a resident, it is harder to work in different extracurriculars or activities that I enjoy. So last month I was in the ICU. That was a very difficult month. But now this month I'm on an easier elective, and so I am starting to take up boxing again, able to get to the gym more and going out on weekends because I don't have weekends this month, which is really nice. But I will say residency is a lot harder. So enjoy the time while you have it. Even as a resident, maybe I'll make a separate video on how I am trying to prevent burnout. But if you're getting any value from this, please like, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below if there's anything else you want me to make a video on, and I'll see you in the next one.